What's up, guys? We're back in the lab, and today we're going to be going through a workout that has a focus on the lower body, but specifically the hip hinge. So we're going to start things out like we've been doing. We're going to do some isometric postures on this single side where we're really focused in on this side bend, or this coil as we call it, where we're going to be trying to tap into today this oblique side. So this oblique, this external oblique on the side of the body. We've previously been working on the lat for the bulk of this. So we're going to start things out. We're just going to need some wall space. I'm going to be using a stick mobility stick. I think these things are great. They have a nice little grip to them, and they're super awesome for drills like this. You can also use a broomstick and sort of wedge it in someplace if you need to. But these are going to be in our session today. So I'm going to take this guy here. I'm going to park it just about hip height on the wall. I'm going to get out onto the end of the stick here with an underhand grip on the end of the stick. And then this hand's gonna come up over top, like so. And that's gonna sort of create this nice blade between my elbows that we've sort of been doing in most of the drills through this program thus far. From here, again, I'm gonna be kind of pulling in, and this time when I'm getting this side bend, I'm aligning these postures where this head's gonna be sort of over top of this foot where all my weight has now shifted. I'm gonna create a hip hinge. All right, where I'm going to weaponize or reach this elbow towards a target out in front of me, and I'm going to keep my eyes on that target throughout. I am aggressively trying to push this stick into the wall. I may even get my foot, if I got the right length stick here, my foot onto the wall to make me nice and secure so that I can really crank down and start feeling this isometric hold on this external oblique here. All right, we're going to hold this guy for about 30 seconds or so. Again, trying to keep our eyes on the target in this case. This neck is nice and long. I'm really digging into this oblique on this side. It's almost gonna feel like the top of a crunch. Ooh, but I'm also getting this nice hip hinge position. I'm feeling those glutes, I'm feeling the hamstrings. And if you're able to kind of press into that wall as well. But I'm keeping this nice length between my elbows. I'm keeping that blade nice and aggressive. Whew, all right, I think that's about 30 seconds there. Again, I'm feeling super toasty right here in that oblique now. Feels awesome. We're going to be able to use that information, sort of educate some other positions we're going to do today. So we'll go ahead and hit the other side. Again, this is about hip height. That's usually a good general position. I'm going to go ahead and get it out. I'm going to do that underhand grip onto the end of the stick there. I'm going to place my foot against the wall because I have the right length stick for it. If not, it can hover, or you could bring an object up to help. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, again, pull back into this stick as hard as I can. I'm getting this blade out in front as hard as I can. Really focused in on this left side oblique right now, funneling all of that intention right to that. I'm getting super long, eyes are on target, making this nice blade between my elbows. And we're just gonna hold this iso position. I'm also feeling those glutes, feeling those inner thighs a little bit. My weight is on this front leg. Funneling everything to that oblique currently. Neck stays long, 30 seconds. You can notice maybe on this back foot, I'm kind of flicking that heel out even when it's on the wall there, okay? So we're always trying to get that little, like, pigeon toe a little bit. All right, guys, whew, I think that's about 30 seconds. We'd run at least another set of that. So like I said, I like to do two sets of about 30 seconds on each side to really establish the position, that intention of feeling that oblique so that we can use that information for later movements. So let's go ahead and get into some work sets. See you there. All right, guys, we finished our isometric postures. We're gonna get into a little work set here. We're really only gonna do these 4 sets of 4 again, really focus on establishing our positions, our intent throughout these movements. We're gonna be performing sort of this bilateral hip hinge using 2 sticks this time, so you may have to pull out 2 broomsticks at your house. Hopefully you have some. Or if you have stick mobility or any sort of long object, this is super helpful for this. You can also, actually, I didn't mention the other, but you can use a door frame as well. It's, you could stand in between the door frame. It can kind of give you a similar effect. You got to do a little bit of different positioning. But we're going to get in here. We're going to start with this hip hinge, and then we're going to be using a glute ham developer or a GHD. If you do not have a GHD on hand, they're pretty common in most gyms now. You could use underneath your couch. Just make sure that couch is nice and heavy. Have a buddy hold your legs, partner hold your legs. Okay. So We're gonna start, I'm gonna be wedging these guys just off to the sides of my hip here. We'll kind of take a hip width this apart stance. I'm gonna flare the heels out slightly. Got my hands on the end of the stick here. I'm gonna make it so it's probably right about at my feet, like my toes, when I'm pressing this in. I think that's gonna be right. But we're gonna get these shoulders sort of fanned out and forward, but also down really low. So they're depressed and they're fanned out. So my back is nice and smooth and long in the back right now. I'm gonna hinge down, and as I hinge, I'm gonna go ahead and press as hard as I can into the wall, okay? I'm even gonna sort of think about getting my thumbs to sort of point back at that wall at the same time. And this is gonna create a whole bunch of, make me feel really like open around that upper back. It's gonna give me a lot of space to go for this hip hinge. I'm gonna be feeling those external obliques that we just felt in that iso hold. We're gonna just go for about 2 to 3 seconds down, little pause and back up, and we're keeping this tension the entire time. So I'm feeling the nice lat spread, but I am feeling the external oblique or those abs really drive this movement. 2 to 3 seconds up and down with pauses, keeping that isometric sort of tension throughout this. And I like to do this move. I think this is really helpful. I do a lot of like lifting of stone, like a strongman competitor would do, the picking of the stone. This makes me feel good like I do when I get around like a big object like that. So this is a really safe way to learn to pick things up off the ground, really tap into some core function as we're going through hip hinges. So, all right, that's our hip hinge with the sticks. Again, about 4 reps, 4 sets. We're gonna pop into our GHD here. Now, something interesting with this, I do like, I like to use the assistance of a band here. So I'm gonna be using a 2-inch band sort of on a high fixed point. Doesn't have to be a high fixed point. You just want it sort of out of your way. You can come up with some creative ways of doing this. But again, if you have like a partner holding your feet or something, you could hook it around them to get a little extra stability. Again, we're in here to think about intention. We're trying to feel this movement driven in a certain way. And in this case, we're actually gonna go back to that backside. So we're gonna feel like the lats are sort of driving this movement again. I've got the band around my body and my hands are right about at my armpits. The shoulders are nice and low, the chin's nice and tucked. I'm gonna take like that hip hinge posture while I'm in this. I'm gonna flare my heels out on the footbed here. My toes are what's in contact with the footbed of the GHD. I'm gonna go and keep those elbows pinned low. I'm gonna push straight out. So I'm actually gonna drive straight out, kind of hover for a moment. I'm not gonna lock the knees fully, and then I'm gonna pull or draw myself back into that hip hinge position. We'll do this for 4 reps. Again, super smooth for each rep, maybe even a little pause as we hit the end. Heels are flaring out. Give me that little pause, trying to keep those positions, those postures, chin tucked, shoulders low, and I'm feeling those low lats on this one. Drive back out, little hold. Shoulders are low. You'll see I'm sort of making this almost like diamond shape between my hands here, almost like I'm gonna catch a ball. Okay, we'll go one more. Again, nice hip hinge. Very aggressive angle with the spine and shin here as I just sort of shoot myself straight out and then draw myself back into that hip hinge position. Okay, so good job. Again, 2 different movements we'll do sort of in this bilateral environment. We have our hip hinge with a stick. This is really to set that intention of engaging sort of this outside oblique side of the body as we go to pick things up off the ground. And then we have our GHD, or again, you could use a buddy. You could hook your feet under like a couch or just a really heavy object. And then we're gonna try to use some assistance with some sort of band to make that so you can really hone in and focus on what we're trying to target there. All right, so 4 sets for that. We're gonna move into some accessory work. All right, guys, we just finished our work sets. We're gonna get into a little bit of conditioning, some accessory work. We're gonna be exploring something we call the RMT kettlebell swing, where we're gonna be working on moving from side to side in that side bend. And then we're gonna play around with just like a traditional hip bridge, glute bridge type thing, where we're gonna be trying to compress the Bozu Elite here, and we're gonna have our back up on a bench or bed. And if you don't happen to have a Bozu Elite, you can absolutely still do some hip bridges and just some glute bridge type stuff there and still get some great work in. So we're gonna start things out though. We're gonna do this RMT swing first. We're gonna do 8 to 12 reps alternating. What's different from a traditional type kettlebell swing, if you're familiar, we're still gonna be taking this nice sort of hip hinge posture. Instead of grabbing the top of the handle, I'm gonna encourage you to sort of grab the sides like this, okay, sort of by the horns. So as we go to swing this bell, I'm gonna create that pivot type action with my heel that we've been doing in a lot of this training, and I'm gonna really funnel everything down right into this right side here. So you're either gonna be feeling that oblique we've been engaging, and potentially even that low lat on that side. You're gonna notice the bell handle's almost gonna go vertical as you do that. You're gonna keep your eyes nice and level, so you're not gonna tilt the head. We're gonna keep everything nice and level. That neck's gonna be really long, that shoulder's gonna be nice and low, and then we're gonna bring it back to the center. Everything resets sort of flat like we've been in most traditional hinging and kettlebell swings, and then we're gonna pop up on the other side after that, and we're just gonna alternate back and forth. All right, so we'll go ahead and get in here. We got 8 to 12 reps. It's fast moves, so I like to talk about first without doing it. But here we go. The shoulders are nice and low. Grabbed it by the horns. I'm going to hike it in. I'm going to pivot and tilt. Pivot and tilt. And I'm getting those eyes right on a fixed target ahead. I'm getting that handle nice and vertical. I am funneling all that movement right into that external oblique or that side bend or my core, however you want to call it, on each side. I'll go one more on the other side. Oh. All right, cool. So that feels good. Feeling all that hip hinge action, getting really spicy in my core here. We're gonna move right over to this Bosu Elite. Again, if you don't have an Elite or any Bosu ball with you yet, you could just do some hip bridges and still get a great workout. But we're gonna really ramp up the intensity. We're gonna explore sort of that limit force elastic concept, that maximum effort, with the use of compression. So we're gonna be squeezing this dome as we go through some hip bridges. So kind of just get that out where you need it. And what we're doing here, so I'm gonna be attempting to pop the ball throughout this. I'm gonna lower down, shoulders nice and low, loading into those lats. I'm gonna drive up. I'm gonna squeeze the glutes, tuck under. I'm feeling those obliques, that side body a little more, and I'm squeezing there, okay? So that's gonna be the bridge. We're gonna try to add this core or this rotational movement to it. So as I come up, I'm gonna draw this elbow down to one side, and you're gonna get a little more pressure through that foot on that side. Back down, and then we're gonna switch to the other side as we go up. Trying to pop that ball the whole time. So down, drive up, try to pop that ball. Oh. And we're squeezing the glutes. We're going for that 8 to 12 alternating reps. You'll notice I'm grabbing my hands together here. I'm pulling or ripping them apart to help me keep this really aggressive blade in my arms. And I'm trying to pop that ball the whole time. It's making it meet me right where I need to, right at the intensity I want. And I'm funneling everything down into that side body on the side I'm focusing on. Let's get one more on each side. Okay, drop those hips. We drive up. We're trying to pop that ball. We're spreading those hands. We're clenching the glutes. All right, yeah. And those way tougher than they look. So that compression, the innards of that dome really make that very challenging exercise. So we'd bounce back and forth between these. I like to say 3 to 5 sets. Again, 8 to 12 reps each. I wouldn't really take much of a break in between these, but kind of keep them going. Feeling really good. Get a great workout. Get that great side bend to side bend. Feel that carryover from the gym to the rest of your life. So great job today. Again, this sort of a lower body focus where we were emphasizing hip hinging, things of that nature. It'll help you with picking things up off the ground. We'll see you next time at the next workout, guys. See you then.